Okay. So do I have all of your guys' consent to audio record?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So starting with you, what is your name and how do you spell it first and last, please?
My name is Jason Silveira, and you want it spelled out?
Yes, please.
And my name is spelled out JasonSilveira.
Nice.
I'm Kevin Agustin, Kevin Augustine.
I'm Mamny Valenzuela, Manny Valenzuela.
Perfect. Okay. So first question is, what made you want to go into this profession?
I will take that. Well, I will say that as a librarian, I didn't come out of undergraduate school thinking I would be a librarian. I was an English major, and I loved books and being around books. And I found retail work around books. I was a bookseller. I was buying books from the public at a bookstore and wanted to be around books. And then I was living in the Bay Area and then found my way into the master's program at San Jose State for librarianship and information science. So it was just an extension of how can I still be around books in some way? And that really is what led me here today. So.
Perfect. Okay. You kind of answered the follow-up question for that one, but what are research workshops?
Yeah, so research workshops are a collaborative program. I partner with the Writing Center and the Writing Center faculty to coordinate research and writing help in the library instruction room. And so what that looks like is a librarian and writing tutors are together in the space to help with research and writing help for drop-in students. And so it's a drop-in twice a week for an hour, and it really is driven out of student interest. So students can come in, they scan a QR code. It's one of 6 topics related to research process development. So it's either like stuff like how do we navigate a database, to how do we overcome anxiety with an assignment topic, and building out questions through that, all the way up to citation style, which I know everyone loves. Everyone loves citations, so no, I'm kidding. So it runs the gamut of topics. So throughout the entire semester, students can come in and any session can be different in what we talk about. And essentially that lecture portion, I don't like to call it that, but that portion of I bring up a couple of slides that talk about that topic chosen by students during that session. We go through it together, and then afterward it's an open workshop setting. So what that means is for the remainder of the hour, the writing tutors and I float around the space and we work with students who need help with whatever they bring in. And there isn't a sort of limit on what type of work to bring in. So we could be working with students from biology, English, or whatever discipline, at whatever level. We've had 4,000 level students in here. We've had first year students in here. And really it's just a matter of all of us to remain flexible and work together to help students during that hour. So that's kind of how it operates.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. I would assume that this research workshop is more leaned towards English assignments or English, like people who need help with writing essays, but I didn't know that if you're doing something for bio, you can come in here, or, like anything. But yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and we really try, to selfishly admit, and we do target this a bit toward first year composition because we really want to build communities of practice with first year students in here to kind of say, hey, there's a place you can go to meet students like you and a librarian who are here to help you throughout the semester and then your entire time here. But we target that first year comp student through basic means of just looking at the calendar and saying, okay, when are the first year comp classes held? Okay, when are there open spots to host these workshops around them? but really we've opened it up for everyone to come in and drop in. And initially when we first started doing this, we did intentionally target first-year students, but it felt alienating. And then we started to see students outside of first-year comp come in. And we were like, oh no, let's redo this and make it very open for everyone. And so that really has, I think, benefited all of us. Just the exposure and the range of students coming in, so.
Yeah. Okay, that was really good. Okay, next question. What does a day in your life look like as someone who helps set up and teach these research workshops?
Yeah, so if I do day-to-day, if we do that, I try to get in here 15 minutes early, and I need 2 computers. I need a computer that's up here that is playing music. It has the QR code going so students can come in and check it. But on my laptop, on my other computer, I'm logged into Qualtrics, and I'm monitoring the submissions that students are identifying as their topic of interest. Now, I'm crowdsourcing all of the selections on my laptop. So if there are 6 students that come in and during a session, I'm monitoring all 6 votes. And whichever topic is selected the most, that's what I speak to for 10, try to go less than 10 minutes. Because no one wants to hear someone talk. Everyone wants to work together, to be honest. So I try to limit that, but you know, it's really 2 computers, getting it set up, one with Qualtrics on one screen, one with the stuff we're gonna QR code, and then eventually the PowerPoint slides. And so all that setup needs to be set up before like the hour. Mm-hmm. And then it's a matter of just hoping for people to drop in and then scan the QR code, and I'm on the back end on my laptop monitoring it. And really that's it. And then we just go through the format of the session, like I mentioned, and usually, you know, the tail end of it is fun. Like most of the hour we touch base with students, but sometimes they're working and they just love the presence, I feel, of all of us together. And then when we throw on like a game at the end of the session, it allows them to take a break from what they're working on, and then they work with us to play a game like Wordle, like what you just experienced, where we had strands up and playing with that. And that really, I think, blends a sense of, okay, I'm here to do something that I'm thinking about and I need to tackle it, but then we also have some fun in here too. So it's a mix of both.
When students come in and they scan the QR code, they put in like, I need to work on this, or I need to whatever subject they need to work on, and that's how you base the research workshop? Yeah, so those topics, there's 6 topics, and they're influenced by my research project in first year composition. So I've been working as an embedded librarian in first year comp for the past few years, and I've noticed trends in student needs. Now, mind you, this is first year comp students. This is not like 4,000 level students, mm-hmm. right? So the gist here is that these topics are broad enough to help anyone come in, but then the moment that we have a 4,000 level student who might have already known about APA, they may have a specific APA question that's at a higher level, and then we can go in and intervene at one-on-one level. And so it really, it's not like the students who come in can like type in their need, but we offer 6 options. So that's a lot to kind of look through and kind of select, and it's my hope that that's touching at least parts of their need, you know? Yeah.
So I'm gonna go touch the screen so you can see the questions.
I promise there'll be questions for you guys too.
There's more geared towards Kevin.
Yeah,
Kevin's doing a good job.
There's a couple of,
You might have to log in.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. If you have a power brick, we can plug it in so it doesn't fall asleep.
I think, I don't have one of this, but
okay, yeah, no worries.
You just have to keep on touching the screen.
Yeah, I'll get up every now and then.
Every question.
Thank
you.
Yeah. Okay, so next question. How do you, oh yeah, I just said that one. Okay. How do you reach out to students who might need help with academic research, and what resources can you provide for those students?
Yeah, so I think that's a super huge question. I'm going to focus it mainly on the workshops. Mm-hmm. So what we tend to do is figure out outreach strategies that align with maybe students' behavior. And so advertising it on the library website, reaching out to students in my instruction sessions when faculty coordinate one-shot sessions with me, and really trying to push word of mouth on, hey, tell your friends to come join this and get some work done and have fun with us. That's really kind of the grassroots part of it. Now, as far as some of the more boring administrative side things, I have to be a little bit more diligent about contacting departments and talking to faculty about the impact of this program, because students may or may not engage with this, but I think faculty awareness is critical, because I've had faculty who have incentivized coming here, and what's crazy is the faculty that have incentivized attendance, a lot of the time the students that come here, they come back again and again and again, and then they build camaraderie with the tutors and I, and it's pretty amazing. And that wouldn't have happened had the faculty not incentivized attendance through like participation, extra credit, or things like that. I can't force faculty to do things, but I can go and kind of knock around on their email inbox and say, hey, just a reminder that this exists. Please have your students come in some way, and let's make a difference with the way they engage with sources. Now that's outreach for this program. Your question is also intimidating from a larger perspective, right? Because I don't know how we can really engage students directly about resources and stuff. And I think that's a bigger, broader question that we're constantly tackling in the library. And we've never come up with a really cohesive approach to that. It's just a scattershot of how can we bombard students with points of awareness. Mm-hmm. And so you might have seen the yard signs out front that are like, hey students, did you know librarians around here? Or an email every now and then through stand announcements or something. So I think it's a full-on, how the heck do we get the word out and hope that people are looking?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's more important just to say, hey, tell your friends that this is fun and come get help with students like you. And that can be even more impactful than a yard sign. So.
Yeah. How did you two hear about workshops, and how did you start attending?
I'm a writing tutor, so some of us were selected to be part of this workshop, and I'm very honored and lucky to be part of this workshop since the beginning, and seeing how much this workshop has grown since the beginning is really amazing, and seeing how students can come back and then applying what they learned here to their assignments is really good. And I feel I'm happy that I keep being part of this workshop. And yeah, I also apply that to my tutoring sessions. I tell them, hey, if you need more help, you can come to the workshop on this day. And yeah, I try to spread the workshop around, and hopefully I'm doing good at that.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same for me. I'm also a tutor like Mamny, and so I was invited to be part of this team. And I feel like what we do in here is, in terms of the library and also the campuses, I'd say pretty important. I guess we kind of have the synergy of both the librarian and also writing tutors. And I think we kind of complement each other in terms of what students, specific student support, whether that be APA or research techniques. Those are some of the topics offered in this workshop. Yeah.
One of the cool things about the workshop was to kind of piggyback off what Mamny was talking about, that when we, in the first year of its run, in the spring that year, I submitted a proposal to present at the the Northern California Writing Center Association conference, and it was introducing the workshops as a concept to writing center people, and it was they accepted it. And what was awesome was that I got to present with Mamny and another former student, Emily, in the conference. And so writing tutors and a librarian are presenting about this program to Writing Center administration. The room was full of Writing Center people, and we got to share our experiences, and also, Jason saying, the synergy, and that really spoke to its importance, I think, in the discipline of Writing Center knowledge and meaning making and dissemination of knowledge, because it was great for all of us to sit, and it was fun as a librarian to sit with writing tutors in front of these Writing Center people and be like, look at how important this cross collaboration is, and it's impactful, and it helps students every time we have a session. So that was awesome.
Yeah. Okay, next question. I'm trying to read through them, sorry.
Yeah, if you need me to move, if you're
good.
down the list, let me know.
Okay, what are the most common types of questions or requests you receive from students?
I'll let the tutor speak on this first.
Yeah.
I have an idea. Do you want to go first, Manny, or do you want me to go
You
first?
can go first.
So, what I find, and also as a writing tutor for all the appointments that I have, one of the main concerns is citations. I see it's more common with APA than MLA, and so I feel like I always have to kind of know, I guess, the citations and standards, and because have tutored and I guess been exposed to that kind of citations and all of that, I feel like I have a pretty good knowledge because of my exposure to it. But I feel like citations is one of the top concerns, I guess, when it comes to either just a regular appointment or when students show up to the research workshop.
Similar to what Jason said, but I deal with more MLA, and also students don't really know how to search for stuff on the library database. So being part of this workshop taught me how to use it, and I teach them how to work through the database.
Nice.
Yeah, it really is a lot of fun with the synergy part of our dynamic in here, because I treat this space equally with the writing tutors. And so there are moments when a writing tutor is working with a writer and they have a question about citations, and then we put it up on the projector. And so we all workshop together, and sometimes I tell them, you can get up and go to the projector and hop on here too. But most of the interactions, broadly speaking, are pretty citation heavy. But what's interesting is I can look at the trends of what students select over month to month, and I do see toward the end of a semester a lot of citations are chosen in the topic selection. But as of right now, toward the beginning of a semester, it's usually some of the other topics they select. So enhancing search techniques, or research anxiety, or going over a database, or introducing the library catalog. Like these sort of foundational beginning parts overlap with the early period of the semester. So it tends to fluctuate given but it feels resoundingly, though, to speak to Jason's point, it feels like we deal with a lot of citation work in here. Mm-hmm. And it does. In fact, yesterday, Mamny had a question about film and citing a film from one of his appointments. And so I went and grabbed the manual, the MLA manual, and we looked using the doc cam to pull up what that looks like in a room full of our tutors and students in here too. And it was cool to kind of engage at that level. So yeah, it definitely does feel like citations are kind of the thing we come back to a lot.
Yeah, citations are hard.
Yeah.
I struggle with citations, so yeah. Okay, if you could give a piece of advice to students to make them more confident in research, what would it be? Or just in anything, like
yeah, you're not
anything you help
alone.
with.
Like I think we're a commuter campus. These buildings are intimidating. It's kind of weird to ask for help. I think post-pandemic it's even more weird. You feel like you're gonna bother somebody, and I think that can feel really isolating. Mm-hmm. And one of the things with the synergy in this room, in this program, is to build community. And to go back to that earlier point, when faculty incentivize engagement with this, and then we see repeat students come in, that builds community. And now they're not alone. And now they know to come here to hang out, get some work done, and meet the tutors that they see every session that they're used to. And then it's building that community in that way. And I think, if there was one piece of advice, and I even say this in my instruction sessions, it's you're not alone. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've started an instruction with, there's so many ways to connect with a librarian. And then it's like, I'm telling you this now, but it's going to be more important in November when assignments are due. So hopefully you remember this. But yeah, it's that for sure. I don't know if you all have advice for that, but it's just don't think you're alone.
Yeah. Like it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not know how to search. And we're here to help.
Yep.
Do you have any advice?
I mean, I guess kind of piggybacking off the idea of not being afraid to ask for help. I feel like there's a lot of resources on campus, aside from like your writing center and the librarian help desk on the first floor of the library, that students, including myself, haven't known about or don't know about. And like specific to writing, it's mainly, the writing center, research workshops, the help desk on the first floor. And I think those are places that are usually open and are pretty regularly open to students' questions, concerns, and anything related to writing and research.
I'm so glad that help desk is open because I couldn't find this room. And I was like,
Yeah.
Do you know where L260 is? Because I looked everywhere and it was so obvious. But yeah, I was like, please help me.
That's so great. You got to use it to get here. Yeah.
But yeah, and you made a good point. I feel like a lot of students don't know like the resources at school. Like I didn't know about Fab Lab until like maybe a couple weeks ago because my professor Rachel, she brought the whole class over. That's the class that I'm writing this assignment or this research article about. But yeah,
Journalism?
it's writing for the media.
Oh, is it Grimshaw?
Yes.
I took
do
that
you,
class.
do you like Rachel?
Yeah.
I love Rachel.
Yes.
She's so nice.
Yes.
But yeah, I really like that class. Oh, dang it.
Sorry,
No,
I didn't wake it up in time.
No, you're good.
Grimshaw's great.
But yeah, I just feel like a lot of students aren't aware that there's a lot of resources on campus and that there's like places that will help you with things if you need help. But I feel like a lot of students are really shy to go out of their way and be like, hey, can you help me? Or, it's really intimidating. But yeah, I feel like students sometimes need to get out of their shells and be like, hello.
And I think to speak to that a bit, we have a diverse student population in a number of ways, but one of the patterns that I've seen in what you could consider non-traditional students, so maybe an older student that's not a part of the typical demographic range of age and so on, one of the wonderful things about that is that they end up being model students for initiative and asking questions and engaging with resources and services. And I can't tell you how rewarding it is to witness like a non-traditional, maybe older student kind of be a part of the community in a way that they take advantage of these things and then they share it with others who are more timid. And then we start to see the rippling effect of that, of students who may have been timid and didn't want to attend, but now they are. And then when I engage with them and ask them, like, how did you find this out? And then it's usually from that student who visited us a week or two ago. And so it really shows you the dynamic range of influence that students, traditional or non-traditional, have an effect on building community. And it's something that I always look forward to engage with. So, but yeah, as far as being timid and kind of seeking information and resources, it's really hard to just do that in general as a human being.
Yeah.
Because it's always just like, this building's intimidating. I don't know if I'm asking the right person. And I'm sure you felt that going to the desk. Is this the right place to ask where this room is? You know, so.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that's a big problem. Okay. In your experiences, what are the benefits and challenges of running research workshops?
Oh, the benefits and the challenges, sure. So one of the benefits, and I tell the tutors this all the time, in fact, I said this today, is that doing this is like a break from what I have to do every day. And like, so administrative work and stuff like that is fine for my job, but doing this is such a rewarding experience that it's like, oh my gosh, this is the break that I need for today. Now, the challenges from my part as a librarian would be space. We currently only have one instruction room, and my colleagues are fielding instruction from all over campus, and we have to situate this at a time and space that may overlap with someone's need for the instruction room. And so there's space limitations with that. There's also the potential of, funding down the road. Like, we're going into a budget crisis of sorts, right? Like, I think everyone's kind of tiptoeing around that. And I think what's important is for the campus is to realize that there's stuff like this happening, and it's amazing, and it should stay here. And that also involves paying people's time. And so the tutors are important to that. And hopefully through being funded with the Writing Center, that tutors can join this experience and be a part of helping develop students' sense of community and getting their work done. So those are just two constraints or challenges. One of them is current and one of them is like kind of forecast. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure if I sat down, I could probably figure out some more challenges, but I don't want to be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
So maybe if you both have benefits and challenges from a tutor perspective, that would be awesome.
I guess the benefit would be like seeing the students apply what they learn here to their assignments and seeing them grow over time through the semester. That's one of the benefits I see. And the challenges is like not everyone can come to the workshop or knows of it. So that's one of the challenges that I can think of.
I would say that one of the benefits is, and I think Kevin kind of mentioned this, is having like repeat students come back, if it's either for both sessions or even just like every 2 or 3 weeks, working on a different assignment, different class, whatever. For a challenge, I'm going to go back to citations. Sometimes a student will come in with the citation question that it's just over my head. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, Kevin.
And I think, Jason, to kind of go back to like a benefit, the synergy between us is incredible. And so there is this kind of pivot in support service between research and writing that I think reflects the literature and how this is a process-based, developmental, iterative, like growth in a researcher writer that reflects even in our support service as we share a space. And so we can pivot between our expertise and grow between each other as a team and a synergy that I think is very unique. And in fact, I've written a book chapter on this, and it's going to come out in like a month or two. I had to fill out some copyright thing for it, but like essentially it highlights the impact and the importance of peer learning, and how librarians in doing something like this actually implement peer learning in a way that's infused with library instruction and information literacy. And so it's a blending of both of our expertises as support services, that Writing Center and library. And so I think we see it play out day to day in our engagements. And when they're overwhelmed with the citation, or when I have a student who's asking me to look at their essay, and I'm like, there are people in this room who can give you much better advice because they are honed in on writing composition much better than I am. And I tell that to the students. And so we pivot between sharing our expertise in that way. And I think that's a huge benefit. That's something that I don't think we've seen ever, that kind of like cross support service engagement. So
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna move up the screen just a little bit.
Okay.
But then we're almost at the last question. So we kind of already talked about this second and last question, but it's just like, how do you help engage with students who may not otherwise come to the library, or how do you get students to utilize your service? I guess, like, I don't know, how do you get the word around that there's research workshops?
Oh, man. Well, I can tell you one unique way from a librarian perspective, and I think this speaks to what Manny mentioned earlier. So when we're doing our own thing to help students, we can drop the word that this exists. And I think that that is probably the most effective, yet not widespread way to do it. In my instruction sessions, I'm always like, hey, there's this thing, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 o'clock, come in, it's like this, and I do it at the start of the instruction session because I know that students' bandwidth is at a certain level, and if I get them early to think about it and maybe write something down about it, maybe they'll come. Instead of telling them at the end, right? After my whole thing about databases and citations, and they're just like, I want to leave. And then the last thing is like dropping that. So it's like telling them early in my instruction session that this exists to them is important. And so to speak to what Manny mentioned, I think the writing tutors as well, and maybe you both can kind of speak to that, like during their appointments, drop in that as well. That to me is one way we can do that. So.
I mean, I definitely do that too in my sessions. Probably not as much as I should, but I don't know. Whenever students say they're focusing on like a research assignment or research essay, whatever it is, a lot of times that takes quite a bit of time, and so our appointments are limited, usually to 50 minutes. So whatever isn't done with that, I refer to them other resources they have. They can book another appointment, although that requires at least 48 hours. The research workshop is another option that I refer to them. And so I think as tutors, it's pretty much just like, look, these exist. Just like kind of referring students to all the resources on campus. And even just aside from like research and writing, just in general, what other resources are available on campus.
Nice. Like one of the bad things about doing this is like giving directions, because not everybody knows where to find this.
Mm-hmm.
So I say like, hey, it's next to the Fab Lab. Do you know where the Fab Lab is? It's like, no. Do you know where the bathrooms are? Like, no. Do you know where IT is? No. So it's kind of hard to tell them where this is. So I feel like I need to show them a map of the library.
Yeah. Okay, last question. In what way do you think your role can positively affect Stan State students?
I don't know in what way. I think it's just we're doing it. Like, I think, and the thing that, how I know that is by the repeat students that come in, and also the way that students engage when we play games and participate with us. And then they will make offhand comments like, I'll be back next week. Like, things like that, I think, speak to we're doing something right in building community and engagement, and also when faculty are willing to incentivize it. I think if they're willing to say, you know what, this thing's valuable and I'm willing to give you extra credit for it, I think that shows faculty investment. And also I think from an institution standpoint, like for my colleagues to say, yeah, Kevin, you can have the room Tuesday, Wednesday, 3:00. That's cool. Like that shows that the librarians are okay with that and they're invested in it. Now, as far as like how we monitor and measure that, that's a little trickier. I do have like a feedback survey form that students can fill out at the end of the session, but not all sessions are robotic. And I forget sometimes to put that up there. Or we have such a great session and we're all talking and then it's like we're all walking out the room. And I'm just like, oh crap. But we can also monitor through students logging into Stand Tutor at the beginning of the session. So there's points of assessment that we can make meaning of engagement that are statistically driven, but it's usually hearing the students say that, and I think that's how we can measure whether this thing is working. So I don't know if that answered the question, but it was
a good answer.
I felt like it's close to it.
Yeah.
I think just seeing them, seeing how I'm able to help them and seeing them apply what they learned in their assignments feels good to me. But I owe it all thanks to Kevin, because when I first started this workshop, I was very shy and I didn't think I was good enough to help anybody. But because of Kevin, he's shown me that you don't have to be perfect, and I don't have to feel like a robot to know everything. And because of Kevin, he's shown me that he broke down this barrier that I don't have to be a certain way to students, and I kind of imitate that in a way, not completely, because Kevin is amazing and all that. But I try to imitate that, to be make tutoring and here fun for students. And it's just all thanks to Kevin. He breaks down that barrier. Because when we think of librarians, we think of old people who are cranky, who get mad at everything that we ask them. And that's not Kevin. Kevin is amazing.
I appreciate that, man. And if anything, I to kind of speak to that a bit, I want to focus my time helping students. That's why I'm here. And ultimately, working with tutors is such an enriching thing, because now I'm working with students who want to help students. So I'm in league with people who want to do the same thing I want to do. And then in being in a space and saying we're going to deconstruct the silos and allow you to hop on the projector, or we can pivot between stuff, we further entrench a sense that we're a team equally and that we can support each other. And I think that in itself is a role that students can see and be like, this is different than what I thought I was getting into when my professor said to come here, right? Because there's this assumption. It's it's going to be a boring thing, and I'm going to have to sit here. And then we have students come in on that initial engagement, and they're kind of like, what is this? Is this a class? What is it? And then we're like, come on, sit down. And then they buy in a little bit, and then we go through a session, and they see that role. So that role to me is not just me, it's the experience. And I think that experience is a role that is something that is so unique to this building and, to be honest, this campus. So I really do learn a lot from the tutors as well on how to engage with students, because sometimes I feel out of touch. And so I get to watch them engage and be like, oh, I need to pick up on that. Make that my approach. And it really helps us build our engagement and enhance the role of that experience. So thank you, Manny. That was very sweet. I really appreciate it.
Let's see. I mean, I would agree with what Kevin said. Whenever I first started participating in this workshop as a tutor last spring, I didn't know what to expect. Honestly, I was kind of nervous because a research workshop? What am I going to do in there as a tutor? And, when I came into this place, Kevin was just super inviting. Honestly, not what I was expecting. But I'm glad that, Kevin is kind of are the librarian for this workshop, and just kind of the environment we tried to set up here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. I think that, I don't know, those are really good answers, and thank you guys for letting me interview you. That was really nice. And now I have a lot of people to write about, and not just one, so yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you guys
well,
so much.
Your work will get the word out in a way that is unique because you are a part of the student population that we serve. So you writing on behalf of this actually enhances it in that angle too. So I appreciate you doing this because we need to get the word out more. And maybe your professor Rachel can hear this and be like, oh, that's what's going on in there. Rachel, it would be awesome if you could send students here.
She probably will.
Yeah.
She really likes to send her students like to not research, what the heck, to resources.
Yeah.
And she likes to let us know like, hey, this is out here or this is out here. And like I didn't know about like a lot of these resources until she told us, which is really nice. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for interviewing us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you for letting me record.